Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, a post-fight review for Gervonta Tank Davis versus Isaac Cruz. Where do we even start with this one? Before I say anything, I do want to say that the version of the fight that I saw, the copy that I had, wasn't a great copy. It wasn't super clear. Kind of stream quality, quite frankly, so I may have missed a couple of bits. I just wanted to put that out there. But Tank Davis versus Isaac Cruz. Now, going into this fight, of course, Gervonta Davis was known as the Tank and Isaac Cruz known as the Pitbull. Now, if you take a Tank and you take a Pitbull and you pit them against each other, the Tank will run over and crush the Pitbull. That's not what happened in this fight. It was the Tank which was in reverse gear, being chased down by the Pitbull. Now, I want to say that the commentary for this fight, I had a Showtime copy. The commentary was absolutely abysmal. It was Mauro Ranallo, Al Bernstein, and I think Abner Mares, I want to say. And yeah, those guys did a horrible job. They were basically just homers for Tank Davis, calling shots that clearly landed on gloves and not really calling the work that Isaac Cruz was doing in many instances. There was one round in particular where Tank Davis threw like an uppercut, like a power shot, and it clearly hit the guard of Isaac Cruz, and they were creaming themselves when Tank threw that shot. But shortly before that, Isaac Cruz was ripping Tank to the body with real hard punches, and it was crickets. Absolute crickets. The commentary for this fight was truly abysmal. They did a horrible job of calling this fight. Now, I never scored this fight round by round. I have to say, I'm going to wait until I get like a HD copy of this fight. But on initial viewing, it looked like this fight was very close. I felt there were numerous close rounds in this bout. And it was a very competitive fight at the end of the day. And to me at least, it looked like a close fight. I felt Isaac Cruz started this fight very well. I have to say, I've done a prediction video for this fight. In my prediction videos, I like to break down what each guy should do. And Isaac Cruz was actually doing some of the things that I wanted him to do. In this fight, Isaac Cruz's defense was on point. Defensively, this was the best Isaac Cruz has ever looked, and going into this fight I said Isaac Cruz's guard had to be much better, and in this fight Isaac Cruz displayed a real nice tight guard, and he was fighting in a crouch, making himself a hard target as he applied pressure, and as a result Tank Davis really struggled to land consistently and cleanly on Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz's defense in this fight was spot on. I also liked how he shortened up his punches a lot more in comparison to previous fights. His punches were a lot more tighter, a lot more compact kind of thing, because previously when I've seen Isaac Cruz fight, he really goes balls to the wall and throws real wide shots, like super wide haymaker type shots. But in this fight, he tightened those punches up. He didn't square up quite as much and things of that nature. So defensively, Isaac Cruz was much better in this fight than I've seen him previously, and I said that would be a key going into this fight. And that really gave Tank trouble. In the first few rounds, I felt Isaac was applying good pressure. After 4 rounds, I think you could argue that Isaac Cruz was winning. He was landing some really good body shots on Tank, some cuffing shots to the head. One thing I will say, Tank Davis was rolling shots. He wasn't getting caught flush to the head, but to the body, he was taking a lot of body shots early on. And yeah, Isaac Cruz started this fight really well with his pressure. I felt that Tank started to have a bit more success in the middle rounds where he was boxing and moving, trying to keep distance against Isaac Cruz. And he definitely won a few rounds in the midsection of this fight, keeping Isaac Cruz at arm's length. He landed a couple of good power shots, a couple of uppercuts, but to Isaac Cruz's credit, he ate those shots up like nothing. Isaac Cruz in this fight, yeah, he showed good defense, but when he did get caught, he showed a really good chin. He was never hurt in the slightest in this fight. But yeah, as the rounds progressed, Tank Davis started moving more and more. He started to clinch more, and quite frankly, he was quite negative in his approach against Isaac Cruz. He was domesticated by Isaac Cruz. You know, Isaac Cruz was the bully in there. He was the aggressive dude, he was the guy trying to force the fight, whereas Tank was trying to basically pot shot and win rounds that way. But nevertheless, Tank was having more success doing that in the middle rounds. As it progressed further, I felt Isaac Cruz had a great round 10. He was strafing Tank Davis with hard body shots, also landed a couple of good hooks to the head in round 10 on Tank Davis. Tank was in the corner and Isaac loaded up with a couple of hooks. Once again, Tank rolled with the shots, but he was caught by those punches and he definitely felt them to some extent. And in the last couple of rounds, allegedly Tank Davis picked up some sort of hand injury, and as a result he was even more negative. Isaac Cruz was trying to apply pressure, Tank was trying to keep Cruz at arm's length and basically pot shot. I actually felt Isaac Cruz won the 11th round based on his work rate, his pressure. Round 12, once again Tank was moving. Isaac, though, for some reason wasn't throwing as many punches in the 12th round. Round 12 was what it was, and in the end Tank winded up winning a unanimous decision. I think two of the cards were 115-113 and the other was 116-112, something like that. To me, not scoring round by round, it looked a close fight, but again, I need a clear copy. I need a HD copy of this fight because it was a very close fight in my opinion. One thing I can say, Tank Davis didn't look good at all. Defensively, he was getting caught quite regularly. He had no answer for the body shots of Isaac Cruz. And yeah, Tank was rolling some of the headshots, quite a lot of them in fact, but they are still scoring punches. And it goes to show, if you put punches together against Tank Davis, he's there to be hit. We saw that against Leo Santa Cruz. We saw that against Mario Barrios. We saw that against Jose Pedraza. If you can put shots together, Tank's defense really isn't that great. He can evade one shot, like one single punch, quite well. But when you put punches together, Tank's defense isn't that special. He's there to be hit basically. And once again we saw that against Isaac Cruz. And yeah, I felt Tank in this fight looked lethargic. He looked basic. He had no idea how to penetrate or get around the tight guard of Isaac Cruz. And for me in this fight, Tank Davis just looked very one-dimensional in his approach. Whether that be punch selection, combinations, etc, etc. He looked extremely one-dimensional. He never really adjusted to Isaac Cruz. And for me, Tank's limitations in this fight were put on full display, and he needs to improve. Quite frankly, I think Tank needed this sort of fight. He's had it on easy street for far too long, and as a result, I don't think he's really improved as a fighter. You know, providing you learn from it, you improve when you fight top competition. As they say, steel sharpens steel. But, you know, Tank hasn't been fighting steel opponents, he's been fighting aluminium opponents. And ultimately, I think Tank Davis's lack of competition in recent years came back to haunt him against Isaac Cruz. I think I said this on Twitter a few weeks ago, or maybe on YouTube, I'm not sure. But I don't think Tank Davis has got better since the Jose Pedraza fight. To me, he looks like the same fighter. In fact, back then, Tank looked more dynamic. So right now, I have many question marks over Tank Davis and his standing as an elite level fighter. I do think in one sense this could be a good experience for Tank Davis. Ultimately, I do think he needed this sort of fight to make him realise that he's not the complete article, that he does have a lot of flaws and he needs to work on a lot. But on the flip side, somebody who is propped up like Tank Davis is, I mean, I've seen Tank Davis in people's pound for pound lists. Somebody of that stature should not be struggling in this sort of fight. Because let's be real, although Isaac Cruz surprised us, he got his tactics spot on, and he fought a really good fight. Despite that, going into this fight, it was a cherry pick. Let's be real. And, you know, Tank nearly choked on that cherry. So this should be a wake-up call for Tank Davis. It should be a wake-up call to his fans as well, who are propping this guy up to be like the next big thing, like a pound-for-pound level talent. Right now, he's not that. And I'll go as far as saying that he's miles away from that. Tank needs to improve on a lot, as do many of these young lightweights. I mean, boxing media, mainstream boxing media, and certain fan channels out there have been propping these guys up in the last 18 months to a ridiculous extent, calling these guys the Four Kings. Yeah, in the space of a 2-week span, we've had Teofimo Lopez get dog walked and lose to a 13-1 underdog. We had Devin Haney struggle with a blown up super featherweight who can't punch, and he got hurt in that fight. And now we've had Tank Davis go life and death in a cherry pick gone wrong. And of course we've got the other clown, Ryan Garcia, who doesn't even fight. These other so-called Four Kings, these other guys anointed by the media as the future of boxing. You know, when you anoint guys with that sort of lofty status of calling them the Four Kings after Duran, Leonard, Hagler and Hearns, when you call these guys the Four Kings, you're giving them a status they don't deserve, they think they've cracked it, and they turn into divas and prima donnas. But at the end of the day, chickens always come home to roost, and we've been seeing that in the last couple of weeks. These guys are not the finished article, they're not close to pound for pound lists, or anything of the sort. As far as I'm concerned, these guys need to get in the gym, train, work hard, and fight each other. That's all that needs to be done. None of these selective cherry picks and all this bullshit, A-side, B-side bullshit, pricing themselves out of certain fights, arguing over who has more social media followers. When I saw Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney do that, it left a bad taste in my mouth. It just really wound me up. And these are the guys who the boxing media have anointed as the Four Kings. God help us. If this is the future of the sport and these are the flag bearers, then God help us all. I mean, Four Kings, I see a lot of people now refer to these guys as the Four Queens. I'll go a step further. I say the Four Jesters as of right now. So ultimately, hopefully these last couple of weeks have served as a wake-up call to these guys. They have a lot to do, a lot of work to do. Are they going to do that? I've not really got faith in these guys, quite frankly. I've seen enough. I would like to be wrong. I'm not saying they're not good fighters. I'm not saying they're not talented, because they are. But you got to show me more. You got to show me more. Anyway, rant over. Share your thoughts below. It's been your guy Del Boy. Peace.